We have such a great show for you. But before we get into today's show, I want to once again thank our guest from last week, author Jude Murrow. His personal journey of autism was totally inspiring. If you missed it, you can always go see it on our website and you can watch it at Soulivity TV, available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So go get inspired, okay? So, as we go through our days, I bet that most of us never really realize how many ways our five senses are used. I mean, they can go into overload because of everything that's happening. I mean, COVID, staying at home, probably work things. I mean, it's a lot. And I mean, we probably don't even really think about it. However, our first guest wants us to know that as we become an increasingly touch deprived, high stress culture, we are paying for it with our well being. In her book, The Touch Remedy, leading touch therapy expert Michelle Ebbin demonstrates how the ancient wisdom of touch can change your life. She's an author, inventor, on air personality, and mother of three. Since founding Basic Need in 1994, Michelle has been committed to increasing awareness of the healing power of touch. So it is my pleasure to welcome Michelle Ebbin to the show. Let's get her on. Hey, Michelle.
Hi, good morning, Brian.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm so glad you're here. Now, everybody, listen, we love questions during the show. So if you have any questions, please feel free to post them on any of our social media outlets: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. We will see them all and we'll get them answered. All right, Michelle, I love the concept of the book. I think we don't talk about it enough, where the power of touch, I mean, is so important in our lives. When did you discover this passion? I mean, when did this all come about for you?
Many decades ago, I was a dancer and I just used to go to Body Workers in New York to help me with injuries. And I just really kind of got into my body and started taking classes to learn more about it. And after a knee injury, I took kind of an intensive class to become a massage therapist. And it sort of just clicked with me. I loved helping people. And I moved from New York to LA. And when I got there, I started a practice where I would go to movie sets and work on, actors on set. And then pretty quickly, I had a large clientele. So I hired, I'd say about 10 massage therapists to start. And that's how I started my business. I would send massage therapists to movie sets and to do like chair massage.
Hmm. Hmm.
And the business grew from there. And from that, I wrote books and I worked with a company called Gaiam to do a line of massage videos. And at the same time, I created products, and I really wanted to create products that could be used at home to teach people how to do specific techniques like reflexology and acupressure, and how they could really bring massage and touch therapy into their daily lives.
Wow.
Didn't cost anything as long as you knew kind of where to press. That was the most important thing for me, is that, I know a lot of people can't afford to get regular massages, and this was a way to teach people how to take care of themselves.
Wow. Now, a lot of people don't realize these are ancient practices. This isn't like some fly by night new kind of thing that just kind of popped up. Um, they've been around for a long time, right?
Right. These are, 2,000-year-old ancient therapies. I combine a lot of different therapies. So I use, as I mentioned, reflexology and acupressure, which goes back to the, ancient Chinese dynasties.
Hmm.
And what I do is touch therapy. So, but the places where you will be pressing or massaging are actually the places where an acupuncturist would put a needle. So these are all, if you've ever seen one of those charts with the man kind of going like this with all these lines running through it, the ancient charts, that shows the energy meridians, which have been documented, since thousands of years ago. And I'll just explain a little bit about it. Everybody's energy. And the Chinese believe that if you have a problem or a disease, it's a blockage in the energy. So what you
Mm.
want to do is keep your energy or qi flowing. And you can do that by pressing on the ends of the nerves or the bases of the nerves. So for acupressure, those are places all over your body. There's acupressure points all over your body. In reflexology, it's the hands, the feet, and the ears.
Mm.
So what you're going to do is you want to press on these areas to stimulate the energy. And that energy does not just, you're not just say you're pressing here. You're not just focusing here. This connects to that part of the body, and you're really affecting that part of the body. So the great thing about what I teach is that you don't have to take your clothes off and get naked on a massage table. You can do these techniques sitting in your car, sitting, at home watching TV. So they're really, really effective, especially for people who have chronic problems like, let's say, back pain. Back pain is something you can't really get to yourself.
Right.
You could maybe get a tennis ball and lie on the floor, but really it's hard. So there are ways to massage your own hands and feet that actually will affect and relax your back.
Wow. And that in of itself, right? This connective nervous system that we have, it takes a while. I mean, like my guess is it took you a while to learn how all these different pressure points and energy points across the body connect to each other. Like I know about like acupressure. I've been a fan of acupressure for a long time. Like people don't know that, or people should know, your feet play a big role in how the body functions because there's pressure points down there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think the most important thing is for people to get to know their bodies. Get to know if you have like a little ache and pain somewhere, pay attention to it,
Mm,
because that is an indication that possibly something is wrong. And so the great thing about reflexology is that your feet are a map to your entire body.
mm.
So if you have an ache, say in the arch of your foot, in the middle of your foot, that can be your stomach. So what I tell people is really get to know your body. And then if you're interested, it's really simple, especially now we're home, we have so much time. Go pull up a reflexology or an acupressure map and look at it. And look at, let's just say you have an ache and pain in some part of your foot. You can track that and say, oh, okay, maybe this means that. Um, and educate yourself about what's going on in your body. That's not to say it's instead of a doctor. Absolutely, if you have an ache and a pain, see your doctor. But this is a really effective and scientifically proven way to take care of yourself. And that's hard right now. A lot of people can't see their doctors.
Right,
So this is
right.
a great way to just put some self-care into your life.
Wow. Now, acupressure specifically dates back when? To what era in our history?
I always say 2,000 years ago. When I was
Wow.
writing my book, I was researching like the different Chinese dynasties and who the emperors used to use it. So 2,000 years ago, this is an ancient, um, it's Chinese medicine. So
Mhm. Wow.
yeah.
Now, as I said before, I've been a fan of acupressure. And what are some of the healing benefits that touch therapy give people on a regular kind of basis?
Okay, there are so many benefits, but I'm going to say, first of all, overall stress relief.
Mm.
So everybody's stressed, but right now in particular, it's it's tricky. And this is something, if you're going to bed and you can't relax, or if you haven't wake up and you have insomnia, um, reflexology and acupressure, stress relief. But there's also acute, if you have any acute problems, as I said, back pain, a lot of people
Mm.
use it for headaches. It's very effective for headaches. really any aches and pains, but general stress relief is what I tell people. And as you probably know, stress is related to 99% of all diseases.
Hmm.
So if you can lower your stress level, and if you can do that yourself with simple techniques, you're helping your entire body.
Wow. Now, so what are some of the ways that we can do it today? Like let's say someone's not familiar with touch therapy and you want to give them kind of like the 101 instruction. What's the first step that you would tell them to do?
Sure. Okay. Well, what I'm going to do is explain to you that reflexology and acupressure. Let's start with reflexology because that's the easiest one, and that's the one you can access because that's your hands and feet. If you were to think, here's like my hand. If you were to think of a body, here would be the head, neck, body, legs.
Hmm.
If you thought of your hands and feet, there's a map of your entire body on your hands and feet. So all the points are laid out that way. So, for example, headaches. A lot of people get headaches.
Hmm.
If you took your, it's on now. It's on both hands. The reflexology area for the brain for headaches is on the top of your thumb right here. It's behind the flesh. It's the fleshy part behind the nail. And all you want to do here is take your other hand and press on your thumb. You can press really
Okay.
firmly, or what I say to do, if you happen to have one of those little chip clips
Hmm.
or like a clothespin, nothing too tight, but firm, you could put
Right.
it on here. Now, what this is doing is this is stimulating the energy at the base of the nerve of
Mm.
your thumb, and you're stimulating it so it's improving the circulation of blood and oxygen throughout your body, and it's sending a signal all the way through the hand all the way up to your brain to
Wow.
relax.
Wow.
So what I say to do is do that on one hand. You can kind of press firmly, you can make kind of small circles, and then do the other hand,
Okay.
press, make small circles. And this is the reflexology area to the brain, which is the super powerful point for headaches. And
Wow.
I would say time wise, it doesn't really matter, but maybe at least 10 to 15 seconds
Okay.
on each hand. So, if you have a headache and you're sitting on the couch, you're watching TV, you can easily do this yourself. And I say, do this before you go take ibuprofen or something else. It's a natural technique, can't hurt you.
Wow.
And if you want to do the same thing, it's the on your feet, the fleshy part behind your big toe on
Hmm.
both feet is the
Hmm.
reflexology area to the brain, which is a super powerful point to help headaches as well.
Wow. Okay. And so you got me sold on that one. I get headaches sometimes, so I'm definitely going to be utilizing that. What's another way that for like people who are like 101 101ers
101.
that
Okay,
they
sure.
can do?
I think that a lot of people are having problems sleeping right now because of stress,
Mm-hmm.
because they can't turn their mind off. So, the first thing I want to do is I would tell you that you want to relax the solar plexus point. Now, I'll explain what that is. The solar plexus point in your body is really the nerve switchboard to your body. In the
Mm-hmm.
body, it's located behind your diaphragm, kind of right about here, behind
Mm-hmm.
your breastbone in your diaphragm. So, in the body, it's the nerve switchboard. Now, in your hands, it's the center area on the palm of your hand, right here on both hands.
Wow.
So what you
Okay.
want to do is press really firmly in the center of your hand. And then what I like to do is kind of bring your hand down and back. And this puts extra pressure on this reflexology area to the solar plexus. It makes small circles. And what this does is it relaxes your entire body. So just sitting here, in a chair, even in your car at a stoplight, pressing here, and then do the other hand,
Wow.
bending down and back. That is super powerful stress relief. Then
Wow.
after you do that, there's
Mm-hmm.
a acupressure point behind your ear, and I'm going to show you here.
Okay.
Right behind your ear, you'll
Right
see
here.
there's like a little indentation,
Oh, uh-huh.
and you kind of want to push in and towards the bone. You feel it. Sometimes, like mine is tender because I
Oh.
didn't sleep very well last night. And you want to press here and then make small circles to really stimulate that acupressure point. This is really great for sleep. It's great for if you have problems falling asleep.
Mm-hmm.
It's great for if you wake up in the middle of the night and you can't get back to sleep. I'd say
Mm-hmm.
do this point and then back here. I'll do it on the other side.
Okay.
It's behind the earlobe.
Mm-hmm.
You can take 2 fingers, press right in the indentation.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of are pressing forward towards the bone and then
Okay.
make
So,
small circles. You can also do it at the same time.
right.
Really,
Wow.
really great for sleep. So these 2 points.
This is like
Another,
right by the what mandibular bone? Is
yeah,
that
yeah,
what?
yeah, right here, right here.
Wow.
And
Okay.
let's see, do you want another one for sleep or
Yeah, absolutely.
would I like to
We
do
could
these
keep
after?
going all day if we could.
We could do it all day. We can take a nap.
No, what's good for for sleep?
For sleep. Okay, so these 2 points, and then I would say definitely right here, the temples. And what you want to do with the temples is kind of push down and then down and towards your eyes,
Mm-hmm.
because you really, really get into there's a the acupressure area here is very tender for most people. So you really want to get deep into it, and then you want to make small circles. If you get tired of the face, go back to the hands. There's another place on the hands that makes me relax immediately. It's it's in the webbing between your thumb and your first finger. It's right here. If you can see it, I'll turn my hand around also,
Okay.
like this. This is
Right
another
in that meaty area,
in the meaty area. Yeah.
right?
And
Right. In.
you want to dig in here, really dig in, make small circles. And this stimulates the nerve. So your body relaxes. This is also really, really good if you're nauseous.
Really?
Yes. Yes. So when I was pregnant, I would press here. I'd walk around all the time like this.
W-
Um,
Like just
yeah, I
so
would just sit
like
here
what are you
like
doing?
this.
I'm relieving my nausea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's another great place if you're nauseous or not nauseous yet, but if you're prone to getting car sick,
Mm-hmm.
there's a point on the inner part of your wrist, right? If you take 2 fingers, it's kind of right in the middle actually. Just you see the tendon here, 2 fingers, 2 fingers below the wrist crease, and you want to press right in the center. Now, and this is for nausea. This is another
Okay.
one for nausea.
Okay.
Press firmly, and then you do the other hand. Now, if you've ever seen those, I think they're called C bands. They're bands that have like a little dots, and they're for nausea.
Mm-hmm.
This is where you would put the band on your hand, and then you'd put it here. Now, I don't know if they explain in there. You want to put the band. It's 2 finger widths below your wrist crease, and that's where the point lies.
So it's like down here.
Yeah. So take your 2 fingers. There's the wrist. Oh, there you go. You
Uh-huh.
can see it there.
Uh-huh.
And then you find the center where the tendon is, and you press. This
Wow.
is a great one. So if you're going on a trip, if you're going on in the car for a while, and
Mm-hmm.
you're prone to getting nauseous, do this beforehand. Do this before you get nauseous, and hopefully you won't get nauseous.
Now, interesting enough, as I was reading your book,
Hmm.
there's techniques for both like young like babies, right? Like and even pets, right? So give us a couple for like if a person has a baby or something, what would you prescribe them to do?
Okay. And I want to tell you that in my book, The Touch Remedy, what I really wanted to do was do exactly that. Like give a few techniques for everybody in the family, because I wanted to encourage people to try these techniques, these natural techniques that you can do anytime, anywhere. So for babies, the most important one, massage techniques. And babies, you're really not going to use too much like acupressure pressing. You can do reflexology because babies love having their feet massaged. But the number one thing I tell new moms, all moms actually, for babies is how to massage your baby's stomach, because most babies have some type of colic or some type of stomach thing going on. So the most important thing to remember. So if you have your baby in front of you,
Hmm.
facing you, place your hands on either side of their belly button. And the way to massage is to go clockwise. Massage around the belly button clockwise like this. And I'll
What?
tell you why, because if you go the other way, you back them up. So you're so you don't
Don't
want
go counterclockwise.
you don't want to do that. No, no, no.
I
Um,
know.
so yeah, you want to go clockwise, and that's there's several other really simple techniques for babies, like do clockwise and then a paddling motion towards you. And again, don't go the other way because that's going against baby's natural system. So you really want
Okay.
to go encourage the baby's natural system so they can kind of like
Right. And
get
it
the
and is it and it's clockwise on them, or is it clockwise to us? Because we're facing them.
clockwise to us. So if you
Okay,
take
so
your
it's
baby and you put your baby in front of you and the baby's staring into your eyes, they're on the floor or on a couch or something,
okay.
you're going clockwise for you.
Wow.
Super important.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you just
yeah, yeah. And then I want to say pets too. I have a
Yeah,
dog.
yeah. You were talking, I mean, it was like, wow, this is really cool. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. There's really, if you think of, if you get to know your body and you learn a few points on yourself, honestly, it's very, very similar to your pet. There is some specific points along a dog or cat's spine.
Hmm.
And most dogs love to have their spine massaged, but if you take your fingers and you place them on either side of the spine and you kind of make a slow, squiggly motion down the spine, you're affecting all the acupressure points along the spine, which is really great for a dog. As well as
Wow.
there's a point on the top of their head. There's like a little indentation. I wish I could
Hmm.
get my dog to come in here, but he's lounging um, on the top of the head that completely relaxes them. And you kind of
Wow.
have to put your first, I like to put my hand down like this,
Uh-huh.
flat, and they kind of feel the heat of your hand, and then just take fingers and massage the top of their head, and they love it. They love it. So I
Wow.
encourage everybody to practice on their dog. If you don't have a baby, um, it's also good for kids.
Now
Like,
you can do this probably on a cat too, and we have a cat.
yes,
So
yeah, you can do it on a cat. You can do it on a dog. You can do it on anyone. I mean, I think the idea, what I try to convey in my book and to everybody, is that touch is really important, especially now when we're used to seeing people in the streets and giving them a kiss or hug and, or even shaking hands. We can't do that now.
right.
So I think this idea of being touch deprived is real.
Yeah.
And if you have your family around you, if you have your pet around you, you can touch them. If you're quarantined with certain people, um, go ahead. I mean, I think what I like to do with my kids sometimes or watching TV is grab their hand, and if you interlace, and I'll try to do it here,
Okay.
you interlace your hands with their hand so that their palm is open. Do you know what I'm talking about? So if you're
Hmm.
like to take your two hands
Right.
and interlace, you just massage the palm of their hand. It's really relaxing. You're hitting a lot of acupressure reflexology points, as well as having that skin to skin contact,
Okay.
which is very important. And we go back, getting back to babies,
Right.
skin to skin contact is number one, especially with newborns.
Wow.
So
Yeah, I've read about studies that were done between nursing staff, neonatal nursing
mhm.
staff, where and this was just, they were just monitoring this. It wasn't like, oh well, we're going to intentionally not touch or don't touch. You're right, touch or don't touch. But they were monitoring the babies, and the babies that got the touch, matured better, had better outcomes early on in the newborn stages than the babies that got less touch.
Absolutely. So Dr. Tiffany Field did that study and
Okay.
years ago, but they keep advancing the studies and doing more. And they found that in two different they had babies in two different groups, and the babies that were massaged were released from the hospital. I think it was something like 6 days sooner. saving the hospital $10,000 per infant. And basically, we're healthier. So it really proved that touch and specifically massage for babies helps.
Wow.
So I encourage
Um,
all parents, if they have a baby, try to massage them. If you're afraid to touch their tummy, touch their feet, give them a teeny little rub. They love it.
Couple of last questions, and then we'll wrap up. Um, what's your regular kind of touch self-care routine? I know throughout the week, when we're not, to try to be more of a wellness kind of standpoint, where we're being uh, proactive instead of reactive. What does that look like for you?
Sure. What I like to do every day before I shower or take a bath is dry brushing. And if people who don't know what that is, you get a brush. Um, the bristles are pretty coarse, but they're not going to scratch you. So dry brushing is something to stimulate the lymphatic system. And what you want to do is brush towards your heart. It takes 2 minutes. Start at your feet, and you brush. You're literally brushing your skin in short strokes, up towards the heart. And then when you get here, you kind of brush down, and
Mm.
not even 2 minutes, 45 seconds. And that stimulates the lymphatic system. So then you jump in the shower or the bath, and it kind of gets your body flowing.
Mm.
What I like to do every day basically is when I'm putting moisturizer or oil on my body after a shower bath, give myself a little bit of massage. And for me, I work out and I do yoga. So sometimes my legs are tight. So I'll do kind of a massage. And I continue to do it towards the heart to stimulate the circulation going in the direction of the heart, which I think is important. Another thing I do, especially because my feet hurt now because I'm walking around in the house and we have these hardwood floors,
Right.
is I roll on a tennis ball. I actually have a ball that has these little springy things on it.
Oh.
But you could use anything. Use a tennis ball, golf ball. You can even use a rock. But roll my feet on that every day, and that not only relaxes the muscles, it hits all the reflexology points. So,
Wow.
and my feet are tender. And what I want to talk about that is when your feet or any part of your body is tender, you do want to kind of work that point. So if it was your hands, you really want to get in there because that is showing you tenderness is oftentimes uric acid that develops at the base of the nerve. And it shows that there's possibly something going on and you just want to break it down. And so tenderness in your feet, you don't want to avoid that. You kind of want to massage it out.
Mhm.
Your body will, if it's the uric acid, your body will take that and you'll basically pee it out, but you want to get that going. You don't want to stagnate. You don't want to stagnate in your body. You don't want to stagnate in your life. So I encourage you to do that. So that's my routine. And then, in normal life, I like to get massages as much as possible, but try to get my husband to do that for me now. Kids.
I know you can't go.
Yeah.
So you're a built-in masseur.
Yeah.
One last question.
Sure.
If you could sum up why people should really do this practice every single day, what would you say to them?
People should do this every single day because self care is the way you stay physically, mentally, and spiritually well. So it's not just the physical.
Mm.
The physical is connected to the mental as well as the spiritual. And that's what I tell people. Taking care of yourself is not a luxury, it's a necessity, and it can help. It can help you and it can help your family because if you aren't healthy and happy, they're not going to be healthy and happy. So that's
You're
what I
right.
think.
You're right about that. You are absolutely right about that. Well, Michelle, thank you. Thank you for being here. We're gonna have Michelle back later in the show for a quick round table discussion. But thank you for being here. Everybody go out and get the book, The Touch Remedy. It's available at michelleebbin.com. We'll have that on the website when we post this video. And we're going to take a quick short break, and we're going to come back with our next guest, who is a fashion model entrepreneur. And we're going to bring back somebody that you kind of saw a couple of weeks ago as well. So stay tuned for more from Soulivity.
Have you ever asked the question, if I was to be anything, what would I be? Regardless of money, regardless of status, beyond popularity and fame, living your passion, feeling your life has purpose. Soulivity is a space to nurture that which lives in all of us. A place where work can become play, and doing what we love creates the dreams of a lifetime.
All right, and hello everyone. This is Brian Wesley Johnson, and we are back for our second segment on Soulivity Live. I've got some very, very special friends I want to introduce to you. One you've seen before, and one is brand new to the show. My first guest, Cairo Williams, has been a working model for 15 plus years. She scorched the runway for New York Fashion Week, Calvin Klein, and was hired as a campaign model for Maybelline. And as a commercial model, she has shot with countless name brands from Verizon to Citibank. Currently, Cairo is the face of Tokyo Fashion Express Japan for the past 3 years. And we want to welcome back to Soulivity editor-at-large D'Angelo Thompson. As one of our entertainment industry's most sought-after artisans, D'Angelo's Emmy award-winning expertise extends broad and wide in beauty, bridal, editorial, commercial, film, TV, and private clients. Thank you for being here, both of you. All right.
Thank you for having me.
Oh man, we gonna get it on. We gonna get it on. Get it on. Cairo, girl, your career. Woo!
It's extensive. This is a long time. 15 plus years,
I mean, and you've done so much over that, right?
I have.
My first question to you is, do you remember like when you first started? You remember you remember when you first started, and then I'm going to ask you about your first gig. So when did you first start?
Okay, so I first started in college for fun and entered a modeling competition with a friend. And that was at Lake Lanier in Georgia. And it was tons of agents from all over the world. My newbie self, I won every single category. So I had the choice to either go to Canada, Miami, or New York with the agencies that wanted to sign me. And I chose to move to New York, which was the best decision I ever made.
Now I hear that, and I'm gonna get D'Angelo in on this too. Why is New York such the spot for I mean, you could have easily gone to LA or you could have gone to Europe. Why was New York so important?
I've been asking myself that since I relocated back here this year. What's so special about New York? And I think it's because there's this idea you can just come here and be yourself. You can express yourself. You can create. No one thinks it's crazy. And even if they do, they appreciate it. And if they don't appreciate it, they mind their business. and, and all of the icons, a lot of them started here. So it was just meant to be.
Now, D'Angelo, when did you meet Cairo?
I want to actually get on the back end of her conversation about New York.
Okay. All right.
It's extremely diverse, and as a model of color, especially, it's an ideal market, at least to jump off of into Europe, into other markets. Mm-hmm. So I'll say I met Cairo over 20 years ago, honey, or maybe 15.
Oh, it's 20-something.
What?
Yeah, we were on the set. We did a photo shoot with the Alan Wilson. Actually, I should have took the photo. I have an archive of photos in a huge box, and I still have that photo of you.
I would love to see it.
Do you remember that?
I don't, but I would love to see it.
I'll show it to you. I'll send it to you. It's beautiful.
Hey, well, if you're gonna share,
Yeah, you can share it, everybody. I don't mind.
It's funny because I was volunteering at GMHC, and the wife of a very famous comedian was sitting next to me. We volunteered together, and I was going through your photos, and because of that photo, she started hiring me for her red carpets.
Oh my gosh!
And you didn't know that? Yeah, it was Chris Rock's wife.
Oh my God! Hey.
But your photo, because I was like editing, seeing what I really wanted to put in my book, and it was your photo in a white and lime green swimsuit.
Yeah. Wow. Now, speaking of photos, here's something. I mean, I read this about you, Cairo, and I was like, no way. You were self-conscious in front of the camera. Now, what's that all about?
Self-conscious that's being kind. It's painful. We all have our story. My story, just super duper insecure because of my traumatic childhood. I was abused, went through that whole experience. That's a whole nother story. But, coming from that, it molds you to be a specific type of way. I think it kind of takes a lot of control from you, and it takes your personality in a sense. So I had to find out who I am over the years, and being thrown in front of the camera to be a model. Eek! Hey, I'm working with what God gave me, but I still have to be able to deliver, either you want happy, sad, or whatnot. So, I had to do something about that quick.
Wow. And this was your own personal evolution, right? In terms of because they're interconnected, right? I mean, you're talking about this thing that happened to you in an earlier part of your life, so linked to your professional life. I mean, your image and how you work your image on both the runway and in fashion and in modeling on the camera is like paramount, right?
Very much so. One thing I learned through the experience of modeling, you would think it would have done the opposite for me, but it has given me a lot of courage and a lot of confidence. I've been able to find the most positive things from modeling. Just help it. Everyone has their own experience, but my experience has been, pretty great, as far as accepting who I am, quirks and all, and making it work for you. And it's okay. You have to I think you have to have some sort of strength within yourself too, to not fall for some of the negative stuff that comes in modeling. But hey, that's that. But I love what I do. It's been able to just give me a life that I didn't think I would be able to have. And I'm not just talking about financially. The security of just being comfortable is something, is a gift.
Right. D'Angelo, the fact that the two of you have had this 20-year friendship, right? Isn't that a testimony to like the kind of people that you and Cairo are in terms of this earthiness? Because my guess is there are a lot of, bless their heart, superficial folks
Mm.
who are in the industry, and it's all about the dollar and that kind of thing, which is important, but it seems like it's a little something more for both of you.
I think for me, I always was drawn to Cairo. Even, I think I did your wedding, or was at your wedding, Cairo.
You did my makeup for my
Yep.
wedding.
And I
What?
You were there.
we lost contact for a while. And when I saw you again on social media, and also you went to our film screening in Atlanta, correct?
Yes.
So when I reconnected with you, I was just like, I have to keep in touch with her. And I'm so proud of what you're doing. I'm so proud of Clock and Flow. You know, we did write an article about it in the magazine. And just, I make it a point to stay in contact with people that are authentic.
Hmm.
And when I say authentic, it doesn't mean that you don't have flaws or anything's going on in your life. It's just about being real. And for you to disclose, you know, the things you went through as a child, that gives you power,
Mhm.
right?
It
And you
does.
take your power back, you know, and I have a similar experience, but also I knew that if I didn't break out as a butterfly,
Mhm.
that that person would always own me, if you know what I mean. You know
Yes,
what
I
I
do.
mean?
I do.
Yeah.
Right.
I do.
You know,
I
now
tell my
since you
students that all the
since
time.
no, go ahead, go ahead. This is, you know, this is what I'm talking about because, and we'll talk with Michelle about this a little bit later because I want to get into that with her. But running your own business is hard, and
Oh,
and part of it is revealing yourself, right? To be very successful, you have to reveal yourself to yourself, to the people around you, and then to this populace,
mhm.
right? Um, you talked about clock and flow, D'Angelo. I wanted to get into this clock and flow.
Yeah.
How did clock and flow get into being, Cairo?
Oh goodness. After a photo shoot for a very big client, I was not able to give her the photos that she needed. So it was not a good photo shoot. It was not good. I had been paid to do this job.
Mm, mm.
And my booker was like, you need to figure something out quickly.
Wow.
So I'm on the train and I'm thinking and I'm moving in my head and I get home, I'm in the mirror, I'm like, and I've taken classes for model coaches before. And I could only get so far with what they taught me because they taught me how to pose like them. But once I got past that, what do I do? So I have like 10 plus years of dance experience in Middle Eastern, African, belly dance, all this stuff.
Hmm.
Like, there has to be something in movement. So playing around, I created Clock and Flow,
Okay.
which is you put
Love
your,
the name.
thank you. And wait till I tell you what it is. It makes sense. But it's a system, a real system that puts your face and your body in specific angles. And it literally gives you the perfect picture every time. But I
Wow.
use that as a vehicle and I take my program to for-profits and nonprofits to guide their clients towards self-love, respect, and confidence using
Mhm.
the experience that I have in the fashion
Mm.
and beauty industry. You are literally, there's a clock, and I'll just show you briefly.
Okay.
So say you see a clock superimposed in front of your face,
Okay.
and you're going to move your face with the hands of the clock. But you don't want to do it in a jerky fashion. You want to flow with it. So a little demonstration. So you're at 12.
Okay.
Now, I didn't tell you what I was doing because you got to come to the program. But trust and believe, you got like 10 photos out of that.
I was like, you had me. The first, like, you know, um,
So it's just like, yeah, it's like 12, and then here's 1 o'clock.
okay. But that's all.
Yeah.
So no more. They got to go to the website.
You gotta take class.
Got to,
But it's a lot more that goes along with that. I'm getting my students to move and touch their body so they
yeah.
can get back there. I get several type of clients. I get my children, and I get the women who have retired, who are ready to just start over, redefine themselves, and they want to get back into who they were before work and children.
Mhm.
And my other types are women and young girls who have been abused like I have, who are looking to find that confidence. So that's what these programs are for. They're a lot of fun, and it's funny when each parent leave with their child, they just like, they're surprised. They're like, you really do have a knack with this program. And my child, she's smiling now. She hasn't smiled in 7 years.
Mm.
So when I get
Wow.
that,
Well, listen, we got a question for you, and we'll get to this question, and then we'll bring Michelle in for a little quick round robin. This is from Sean Bleslow. Hi, Sean.
hi, Sean.
What's your recommendation for a 50-plus woman looking to take their lifestyle modeling to the next level?
It depends on where they are at this point.
Okay.
You know, if they are just starting out, I would definitely say classes first. Don't take
Okay.
any photos or do anything yet until you learn the craft.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Okay. We got one more in, and we can fit this one in real quick. What advice? This is from L'Oreal. Hi, L'Oreal.
Hi,
I
L'Oreal.
love your name. Très bon. What advice would you give young girls who aspire to be models?
Ooh, stay close to your mommy or whoever is
Right.
that parent figure.
Yes.
Stay very close to them, listen to them. And again, it would be taking classes, you know, and just having fun. But listen to your parents first.
Wow. Okay. Okay. I like that. I like that. I'm sure that all of us who have kids, and maybe the ones that are older, we'll have a little bit more difficulty getting through that to them.
Yeah, and they leave that up to me. I'm like, I gotta tell her. Yeah, mom. But she listens
Oh
to
man,
this
we're gonna
Cairo.
welcome Michelle Ebbin back for our quick little round robin for the last few minutes of Soulivity Live. Um, the four of us were having a conversation earlier offline, and it was about, and it relates to Cairo, kind of like, and D'Angelo, what we were kind of talking about before, which is this, we're all entrepreneurs.
Right.
We all have had to go through our own personal journeys, but one is always connected to the other, right? I mean, it's not like, oh, well, I'm going to have this business over here, and this is going to be, compartmentalized, and then my personal life is here. That, when you get to this kind of level where you're really giving your heart and soul, and you have your passion,
Mhm.
that's all connected, right? Who wants to take that?
I'll go.
I'll just say one thing.
Yeah, go ahead, D'Angelo.
I believe we're energy, right? And we're always constantly evolving and flowing, first and foremost. And we're always being led to what we're supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Marianne Williamson says that our work is our ministry. So in a way, you take what you know. Michelle, it was dance. Cairo, it's your modeling. For me, as a makeup artist, it's taking those things and ministering and healing. That's how we believe, from our passion to another passion.
Right. Michelle, you had something?
Well, I was going to say, just sort of in terms of related to business, or taking what you do and creating a business out of it, I think trying to let go of fear. And I talk about this to young girls too, about I could have done other things. I had opportunities, but I was always holding myself back. And now that I'm older, I'm like, it doesn't matter. I don't care what people think. But if you can somehow get over that fear of, what do people think of me, or what if I fail?
Right.
That will propel you forward in business and in anything you do. So take your passion and just go for it.
Yes.
And Cairo, I mean, you were talking about this earlier, about your journey, specifically how it related to, okay, doing the runway is different than being in front of the camera.
Oh yeah.
But when you got in front of the camera and this anxiety and all this stuff come up, it was definitely part of your journey when it came to what Michelle's talking about, right? In terms of fear.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So much of what Michelle spoke about I gravitated to because of my own personal journey, especially when you spoke about using touch and what's going on now, and how I teach my classes is so important. Not just our physical contact with one another, but with ourselves. One thing I noticed with some of my students, we want to be a model, but you don't want to look at yourself in the mirror. You don't want to touch yourself. You have to get comfortable first. And a lot of that has to do with fear. And a lot of that has to do with insecurities that are not our own. And that's something me and D'Angelo were talking about, how a lot of the insecurities, they are programmed. And when we have those thoughts that come up, we need to remind ourselves and ask ourselves, did I tell myself that? Where did it come from? Put a name to it so you can start getting rid of it.
Right. I mean, the first thing is honesty with yourself about what you're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
We had author John Murrow on a couple of weeks ago, and he was talking about how our ego keeps telling us the programming, right? This programming, the script, you should be afraid, don't do that, and it's this fight or flight, and you should just, push it away. Be honest that you have that.
Right.
But then you decide, I'm not going to buy into fear, as Michelle was talking about. I'm not going to buy into this fear and just let it, just keep me parked in it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You don't grow. And again, to the three of you and what you've done with your careers for all these many years, you can't get to that place being stuck in fear, personal fear, which always comes up, right? It always comes up when we're doing this stuff, right?
It does.
Wow. What do each of you do when that kind of roadblock comes up? Because it for me, it still comes up. I mean, there's still times at which, Soulivity is about to go to another level. I'll talk about that in a minute. And there's fear that kind of comes up. D'Angelo, how do you deal with that?
Well, Brian, I'm serious about meditating. I use a few tools. One being the 72 Names of God, which is Aramaic Hebrew symbols that kind of open up chakras for you, and also Reiki. I use the Reiki symbols to open me up. Even before this interview, I was scanning, the Reiki symbols just to make sure that I'm downloading the right kind of energy to each of you. So that's what I do.
Wow. And how about you, Michelle?
I meditate as well, but also breathing techniques, really simple breathing techniques where you inhale, you hold it, and then the extended breath is longer than the inhale. Breathing techniques help, and also getting into the body. So yoga, I try to do a lot of yoga just to calm every part of my body down. And then in terms of fear, after all I've been through, I think try to go towards the fear.
Yeah.
If something scares you, like I'm about to do a TV show and having a panic attack, I think don't panic, and it's good. It's good. Go towards it, and usually it works out. Not always, but
the glorious failures, right?
Yeah.
How about you, Cairo?
I do what Michelle does. I go towards it. I talk out a lot of whatever the insecurity may be. Like I literally do ask myself, where did that come from? And I talk it out. And why do I feel that way? Because after a while, I'm like, this makes no sense. What are you doing? It's just easier to get rid of. But as far as keeping myself just grounded, I do a lot of things, but several things that I do regularly are, I would call it women's work. I love anything that has to do with old African rituals of salt baths and crystals and womb work and anything like that. I'm all over it. Love, 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 love it. It just reminds me of my grandmother too, my family.
Well, it's interesting that all three of you have very similar techniques to deal with moving through fear, or those emotions come up and you have a block. Both, and it's all related. I think it's all connected, right? So if you're doing, the personal stuff and the stuff is coming up, it affects you on your business side, and
And
you've got to deal with it. The other, something business, it's going to affect you personally. So you have to go through these different things to really remedy them, right? To not just make yourself feel better, but actually resolve it, manage it, continue to manage it, and grow, right?
right.
Um, listen, this was awesome. Thank you, all
Guys,
three of you. This
Thank
was
you.
wonderful. Would you guys come back and do like another little round robin
I would
again?
love
We can
to.
talk.
I
Sure,
would
I'd
love
love to.
to.
Excellent, excellent. Well, listen, I want to thank my guest, Michelle Ebbin, author of the book, The Touch Remedy, which is available at her website, michelleebbin.com. Also, fashion model, entrepreneur, and educator, Cairo Williams. You can learn more about her amazing modeling process at her website, Clock and Flow. And of course, editor at large, D'Angelo Thompson. D'Angelo has a new podcast. I've actually watched it. Gratitude is a Journey at anchor.fm. Also, check out his amazing interviews in our magazine, including the one on Cairo Williams and Clock and Flow. Uh, Fantastic, everybody. Um, Listen, before we go, I've got a whole bunch of news to share. First and foremost, uh, this today at 3 o'clock, you want to log in here for a very special event. I can't tell you what's gonna happen, but you don't want to miss it. Soulivity is going to a whole another level. We're going to tell you about it at 3. So just make sure that you come here and log in on soulivity.com, or you can go to any of our social media platforms and you'll hear our special announcement. Now, coming next Saturday, we have even more great inspiration. Author and renowned speaker and my personal friend, Howard Caesar, is back to share why our life is meant to be good. And we have wellness expert and yogi, Michaela Cruz, who will be talking about the benefits of yoga and some other wellness techniques on her and about her new live show right here on Soulivity TV. Speaking of which, don't forget to check out Soulivity TV, available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, just for you. Well, until next week, this is Brian Wesley Johnson saying, on behalf of all these beautiful people in front of you, we are wishing you a life full of passion, purpose, and high quality living. Bye, folks.
bye,
Bye.
guys.